I'm starting with a well-loaded sponge, and on the corner of my eye, moving diagonally over my eyebrow, I'm just pressing and pouncing the sponge. This is Leanne's Pretty Rainbow, and it's absolutely amazing. You can see how I'm lightly pressing, pouncing, and then rocking the sponge back and forth to release the color from the sponge, as well as to get the desired shape I want. Now, oddly, I think I dipped the corner of this a little bit in a darker color on accident from a cake that was next to the Pretty Rainbow. So the split cake doesn't naturally have that darker purple, but that's okay. It all works and is totally fine. And look at the color on this cake. Oh my goodness. The color in person is 5 times as amazing as it is on screen, and I think it's coming off on screen really well. This is one of my favorite palettes ever. So I'm in love with all of these colors because Fusion's colors are so amazing. The neons are just out of this world, and I have been holding my breath for Leanne to make rainbow cakes for a long time, and she finally has. So I'm using Summer Love, which is another rainbow cake out of this palette, for the bottom wing, and I'm just curving my sponge under my eye and pressing, and you can see one side I got perfect with almost not even trying, and then the other side got a little messy, so I'm just going to go in with a wipe and I'm going to clean it up. Typically, when you are doing this on someone else and standing in front of them, it can be a little easier to control. It can be quite hard to do on yourself. And in the beginning, if you're a new face painter, this is incredibly difficult to do while standing in front of someone as well. So if you have to clean up the edges like this to get them more even or to clean up any messes, go ahead and do it. It will make your life much easier. Now, something I learned about these palettes from Leanne Courtney after watching some of her lives that she does with her daughter on her Facebook page, which I will link down below in the description of this video, is that these palettes and cakes she created with darker edges so that you could use those edges for the edge of the butterfly. And instead of guessing what combos to put together, you could use the sponge on the greater part of the cake and then naturally just go to the edge of the cake, and you would have a few darker colors lining the cake you could use for edge work. I had no idea that was her intention, but once she said it and I went back and I looked at this palette, I saw her vision, and I absolutely was so excited that I had to run to this palette and do this butterfly. So this is inspired by Leanne's vision of how she wanted these palettes and rainbow cakes to be used. So I grabbed the dark rich maroons from Berry Butterfly to etch out the top wing, and I am pulling the lines down to the inside corner of my eye. You don't want to go to the center of the nose. I see a lot of people going horizontally with their butterfly lines. You want to go down to that center focal point of the face. You can do multiple segments in the wing, or you can just do a few, or you can do lots. You can vary the sizes as you go down to the corner of the eye, but it's important to try to keep that one stroke line work on the outside of your rainbow cake so you don't lose your color. And whatever you do, don't go too far out on this stroke right here. I'm doing a hump and then pulling it down into the corner of the eye so it kind of looks like eyeliner. Now I kind of have hooded eyes and my eyes are getting old, so they get a little wrinkly looking, but try to avoid going out too far once you reach that outside corner of the eye. If you do go out too far from the corner of the eye, you start to lose some of that cascading butterfly shape, and it really does the illusion a disservice. So just be careful on the overall shape of your strokes and the illusion you're trying to create. And don't ever be afraid to go over your paint. Sometimes you make that first stroke and it's not as rich as you want it to be, or your paint gets a little dry on the brush and you need to reload. That happens to everyone. That is normal. I also use this technique often to correct the shape of my butterfly because even if my sponge work isn't great or isn't perfect, I can use a larger 3/4 inch or even a 1-inch brush, and I can then manipulate the outer shape to not only match on both sides, but to correct my messy sponge work when I'm going quickly on the job. So for the bottom wing, I'm starting in the center and I'm using the dark blues from the Vivid Butterfly Cake. And I'm just pulling a petal shape up into a V right in the center. Not only did I want to try the concept out on a few different cakes, since this is how Leanne designed this palette, but I also wanted this butterfly to coordinate but not match. So I wanted the top wings to be a little bit different than the bottom wings. So now I'm just starting from that anchor stroke I did in the center, and I'm just pulling that blue around into small scallops, and then I'm going to start at the bottom corner of the eye and I'm just going to pull it around. You can see that it's a really subtle effect, but it does etch out that bottom wing. And now I want to incorporate some of the blue at the top of the butterfly so it does not seem disjointed. So I'm just going to pull a scallop shape right into the top to bring that blue color up, and that way the eye flows around the design. I've got the warm tones in the center of the bottom, and now I have some of the cool tones in the center of the top. I also, if I feel like a butterfly needs more dimension, or if I do need to pull more of a certain color into the top, I just create another little secondary stroke with a strike, and then I pull the one stroke down and around, making sure still to curve that focal point down into the center corner of my eye so that it all looks like it's flowing together and that it's part of the design. I'm going to grab this really light pastel lilac with a little bit of the purple because I want to layer some more color, but I want that color to have a much lighter value than the other shades I have. Most of the shades of this butterfly are very rich jewel tones, so by picking a pastel, I'm going to really differentiate that tone to the other tones. If I tried to layer another rich jewel tone over these colors, it's not going to have the same effect that I want. So this gives me some really nice contrast. Now from the corner of the bottom wing, I'm just going to drag and press that color down to create the tail of the butterfly. I've added a little bit of magenta, hot pink on my brush as well. And now I'm just striking a little bit of that lilac tone through the top of the butterfly so I have that consistency and cohesiveness. I'm loving the color combination, but it can always be improved with some neon. This is the Fusion Bright Neon Yellow, and it is absolutely brilliant, one of my all-time favorites. And I am just going to add a few dots and accentuate some of these colors. Now, by adding that bright neon on top of that rich maroon jewel tone, it really accentuates that hot neon color, and that's a combination that I just really, really love. So you don't have to go too crazy with the dots. I just like to add a few of them for detail, and I try to place them pretty strategically. And then I usually add a few dots on the tail of the butterfly or on the inside corner of the eye as well. In this case, I just added one dot. And then I went ahead and grabbed my Fusion Neon Pink as well and added a few more because I just love the contrast of that dark maroon and the bright neon colors. I think it's quite brilliant and was really having way too much fun, obviously, painting this butterfly. I also love doing series of dots where I can, so adding a little bit of that hot pink on the tail of the butterfly wings is a great place to add a few extra colors. Now, the million-dollar question, what do we do for the center of our butterfly? I actually quite like a butterfly without a center, but there's so many options to do the body of the butterfly. A jewel is always a great way to go. The kids absolutely love them, and it's pretty quick and easy. I got these a long time ago and have some left over from LG London. I will put a link to her Facebook page down below. She sells glitter as well. And these are just these glorious, rich, beautiful gems. The colors just couldn't be more perfect, right? They're so rich and deep and pretty. My favorite glue, which I get asked a lot with jewels, is this custom body art glue that comes in the little tube. It's the best. I buy it from Amazon, and I will also link that down below. So this is the jewel that I chose. I think it's quite pretty, and you know all the girls would absolutely love it if you finished their butterfly with a pretty jewel. But I have a few more options for you for the center of a butterfly because I don't always bring jewels with me, or I just might not be in the mood to get my glue out. So the simplest thing I do is to just take a complementary color, take even the same color from one of your wings, and just do a V shape right on the bridge of the nose, connecting the two wings of your butterfly. And you can layer this up and change it in multiple different ways, but it's a really simple way to finish off the center of any butterfly. One of my favorite centers of butterflies are just to use glitter. I find it magical, fun, easy, and we all have so many colors of glitter. So this is a neon yellow glitter. I believe it's called Pineapple from American Body Art. It is one of my all-time favorites. I have to have it in my kit all the time. And I'm just going to place it in the center, but I am going to drag it into a V shape. I want it to have some structure. I don't just want a big blob of glitter in the center because I want it to infer to the eye that it's supposed to be the center of the butterfly with a little bit of an abstract feel as well. And if you have extra glitter on your fingers, just apply it to the wings of the butterfly. Don't waste that glitter. I hope you guys like this butterfly as much as I love this palette. The colors are gorgeous. Do let me know down below what you guys prefer for the center of your butterflies. I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.